Welcome to Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, the wildest mixed tag team in podcasting where the kayfabe drops and the chaos takes over. Let's ring the damn bell.
Headlock tight, heels on the prowl, dropping elbows, hearing growl, feel the foul. No script here, just real, no bluff. Kayfabe crack, now the dirt gets rough. Headlocks, heels, havoc in the zone. Step in the ring, chaos is your home. No filters, no mask, just raw bare tone. Wrestling unscripted, we on the throne. Title belts, mic checks, crowd going crazy. Drop truth bombs, leaving lines feeling hazy. Beyond the kayfabe, past the charade, where legends are born and stories get made. Headlocks poppin', who's hitting the mat? Welcome to the havoc where the real talk's at. Tune in, step through, leave the fake at the door. Headlocks, heels, havoc, now hear the roar.
Eddie Guerrero was a legendary professional wrestler born into a renowned wrestling family. Known for his unmatched charisma, technical brilliance, and infectious lie, cheat, steal persona, rising through the ranks in Mexico, Japan, ECW, WCW, and ultimately WWE, Eddie won over fans with both his in ring skill and personal redemption story. Despite battling severe substance abuse in the late 1990s and early 2000s, including alcohol, painkillers, and steroids, he overcame his demons after being released by WWE in 2001. Through faith, family, support, and sheer willpower, he returned sober and more focused than ever, becoming WWE champion in 2004 and earning universal respect. Tragically, just as he reached the peak of his career and personal recovery, Eddie died of heart failure in 2005 at the age of 38, leaving behind a complex legacy of brilliance, struggle, and resilience. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am one third of your podcast host, the legend J Mac. With me, as always, Uncle Slam.
He wishes.
What's up?
And First Lady of Podcast Wrestling, the Vipers.
Hi, everyone.
I do wish I was wrestling, but this old body ain't gonna let me do that no more. But the sad thing is here I am, 47, and Eddie Guerrero died at what, 38 years old. That's just tragic. As brilliant as he was,
So sad.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, that there's so much to Eddie Guerrero, like it said, all the great matches and so many different promotions. There's the story of his, substance abuse, and then the story of his redemption, him and, Chris Benoit. And then there's the tragedy of his death, which, and I don't want to raise a bunch of red flags, but maybe I do. I feel like there's a connection between his death and Chris Benoit's. I might be
I
reaching at
told you.
straws.
I knew you were gonna go there.
I might
Sorry.
be.
I am sorry, but I said that. And you're like, no.
I just think that in any. Let's start off with the good first. We can get to the bad
Okay,
Let's do
later.
that. Yeah.
This
Absolutely.
won't be
He's a
like
great
as
wrestler.
graphic. Yes, he was, and this won't be as graphic as our Chris Benoit episode. But
Right.
that we are still going to be talking about the death of a wrestler because of substance abuses and stuff like that. So if you're listening to this with your kids, just don't want to give you parental guidance, all that stuff. Discretion, whatever you want to call it. I'm not
Viewer
politically
discretion
correct.
advised.
Viewer, listener discretion advised. Yes, like she said. Yeah, twice.
Exactly.
But I mean, getting to the good, I can't remember the first time I saw Eddie Guerrero. I know it was in WCW. I didn't see much of his ECW stuff. I've gone back and watched some things, but I've never really, deep dove into the ECW career or the Mexico career of Eddie Guerrero, just because I think from WCW to WWE is enough to speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? Anything else on top of that, that's just greatness personified.
Mm,
because I didn't know anything about ECW until I started doing research, and I'm pretty sure
mm.
he did like New Japan too, didn't he? Also, like
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
he was all over the place. I mean, let me look
I'm
that
pretty sure
up
that's where
again.
him and Chris Benoit met actually in New Japan, and
Yeah,
that's
because he
where
started
they
at the.
became friends. They were wrestling like 2 or 3
It
times a week, every
it
week for like
it
ever.
doesn't say specifically New Japan, but it does say he wrestled in Mexico, Japan, ECW, WCW, and
Yeah,
WWE.
And it would make sense because his style would go really well with like like how they do in Japan or whatever.
Oh
So I
yeah,
would,
absolutely, absolutely.
I could see why he would be a big star, or his style would work with theirs a lot, kind of like the luchador or whatever.
and s- and
Yeah,
s- everybody always talks too about how he was just great to work with because he wasn't afraid to do stuff to make you look good.
right.
Like look at Diamond Dallas Page. He said the first time he took the diamond cutter, he was like, man, he was like, let's think of a different way for you to deliver the diamond cutter to me. And he was like, have you ever delivered it from a power bomb position? And he was like, DDP was like, what are you talking about? How are we going to do that? He said, you just lift me up and kind of hoist me. I'll
Hmm.
handle the rest. And he did. He got him up on his shoulder, hoisted him, and as he hoisted him, Eddie flipped himself all the way around. He came right down into a diamond cutter. I was like,
Oh,
Dang.
he lost the match, but you know,
Right.
he was about getting
Still.
other people over. And DDP
Right.
was a guy that needed to get over at the time because of the Monday Night Wars and stuff. Eddie knew he wasn't at that time going to be a world champion.
Hmm.
He knew the cruiserweight division was where he needed to shine to get to, this is my
Where he
first
wanted to be.
real, major spot in America. So let me just shine here with these guys that I've wrestled and, Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko,
are you talking about like
Benoit,
in WCW or are you talking
WCW.
about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
WCW. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, that's what.
I think once he got there, he was like, okay, I'm in the big time now. Let me shine a
Right.
little bit, show these people how wrestling really is, really
Yeah,
good wrestling, our style of wrestling. And then
because he was what was it a cruiserweight
cruiserweight, yeah,
He
the
was.
cruiserweight division.
and then he was a was it a television champion I also think
I
or was
don't
that something
think he
else?
was ever a television
Hold
champion. I
on, let
may,
me
I could
see.
be wrong.
Let's see. I know he was an ECW champion for sure and shit.
Yeah. Wasn't he
Uh,
Intercontinental Champion at one point in time?
WW no, he was a United States heavyweight champ. That's
U-
what it was,
Okay,
United
yeah,
States. That's what it was.
and a cruiserweight champ. My bad,
yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
what it
do
was.
remember him having the United States Championship. Now that you mentioned that,
That's where like I mixed them up. That's what I was talking about. So I mean, the man's won a lot of gold now, and that's probably not even counting Mexico or
Other, yeah,
Japan.
brands,
Yeah, I mean like other groups and
promotions.
stuff. So like honestly, I mean he was definitely like a great champ or whatever. Because why else would they make him a champ in all these different organizations?
yep.
Right.
And it really, it's kind of, I don't know what word to use, but it really, I guess I could say honored. I was honored that I remember the night like it was yesterday. Uncle Slam came over to the house. We were getting ready to watch New England versus Indianapolis Colts, Brady versus Manning. He walks into the house. He looks at me. He says, "We can stay here and watch this game." And he lifts two tickets up. He says, "Or we can go watch WWE tonight." I was like, "Let's go." I was like, well, "What are we waiting on?" We got to see Eddie Guerrero 1 week before he died.
That's the
It was a house
That's
craziest thing
show.
to
crazy.
me, though.
It was a house show. Wasn't televised, but it was that was an honor. It was chilling, but to get to see him live one time,
Right.
before he passed on was definitely something special.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't know how much it actually, meant until, what happened, like a week later. And I'm like, man, we just saw him. And I was like,
Yep.
man, I don't even believe that shit.
It just,
But yeah,
it was definitely, yeah, like you said, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was something. So Vipers, what are your memories of Eddie Guerrero?
Y'all ain't gonna like my answer. I don't
Ah,
really have very much of a memory of him. It's right in that gray area of when I started to watch wrestling. So, like, all that I know is what I've watched since then. And I have watched, excuse me, a lot of Eddie's stuff. I've watched a lot of the documentaries, watched a lot of people talk about him, and he just seems like he would have been a great person to be able to actually talk to about wrestling in general. It seems like that he was very he loved it to a point where he was willing to do anything for it.
He loved the business.
He loved the
yeah,
business. Like you were saying, he was willing to, push other people over for the business, not
Yep.
necessarily for him or for them, but for the business itself.
Yep.
And it just seemed like he did really good for the business. It's just a really sad that he was just gone the way that he did.
I agree.
Tragic, really.
Uncle Slam.
well, like it was in his blood. I mean, you got to remember, he's a second generation. His dad was a
Yeah.
promoter. He's got his cousin Chavo, who was a wrestler. I'm
Nephew.
pretty sure or nephew. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure said in his dad's promotion they would let him wrestle, like during the intermission time or whatever, just to practice. So like if he's doing that at that age, what I'm saying. I mean, it's almost guaranteed he's gonna follow. And I think his uncle wrestled also, like if I
He-
remember right, with
Hector Guerrero, Gory
yep,
Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero Sr.
that's what I'm saying.
Uh,
So
Hmm.
it's kind of
and
hard
don't,
not to,
oh, I was going to say,
It's a
didn't
big
mean to cut you off.
family.
I was going to say,
yeah.
don't forget, Hector Guerrero was the gobbledygooker, too. I mean,
I, di- I
after I
didn't
heard the
know
story,
that, but
yeah, but
now I do.
did you know that's the way the Undertaker was supposed to debut? He was supposed to come out of
No,
that. He was
God,
supposed to come out of that egg, and he talked him out of it. So he
thank
told him, "I ain't
God.
coming out of no egg. So I ain't coming out of no egg, man. That's just killing the gimmick right there. I ain't coming out of no egg." So they changed it to the
What?
gobbledygooker, and the rest is history. Yep.
My goodness.
So
God bless.
there's a little Guerrero family, Mark Calloway family link there that nobody knew, or some people may
Oh,
not have known.
that's
But go ahead.
hilarious.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The gobbledygook.
But yeah, it's a big family.
But like I said, like it's obviously like in his blood. He was a journeyman. He started off. Actually, he's from America, and then he went to Mexico to train, and then I'm pretty sure he
Yep.
went to Japan, and then came back, and of course went to WC.
El Paso is
Yeah,
from,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
El Paso.
Yeah.
Um, got his start in I think like WCW. No, no, ECW first, and then like I
Yeah.
said, he won a
Over
couple
here it was.
championships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went to WCW where he kind of blew up. Unfortunately, like they didn't give him the push, or Eric Bischoff and him just clashed too much at the time, and like he just
Let me
realized,
ask
I'm
you this.
not. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, no,
Let
go
me
ahead.
ask you this: is is it that Eric Bischoff wasn't doing it, or were there others that we know? And I don't care. I'll call him out, Kevin Nash, holding him down because of
I've heard it
his
was that
vanilla
too.
midget
Yeah, I
comment.
know. I know he did have a thing against smaller wrestlers. He didn't like they didn't like him, and he didn't like them also and shit. So and he kind of shit on some people and shit. I guess the big man syndrome and shit. Everybody's smaller than you.
I guess.
Um,
I mean, he can hate me for it all he wants to. If he hears this, if he don't, well, I don't care either way.
but I think at that time, Bischoff kind of had his favorites, and he also had these guys in big contracts, so he had to kind of get his money's worth. Unfortunately, at the time, like I said, they had contracts where they can control what they wanted to do, and a lot of times they wouldn't perform it if they didn't want to perform, and they were still getting paid. They were looking out for them, and Eddie knew that it just wasn't gonna happen and shit. I mean, like you can only stay someplace so long before you realize, look, I'm never gonna get past a mid car. Like they're not gonna make me the champ that I need to be. So him, what,
Right.
Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and I'm missing somebody here. All left to go to
Malenko's had
WWE.
him. Benoit. Yeah.
Benoit. Yeah. Like
Benoit
how the
did,
fuck can
yeah.
I? Yeah, yeah. Like how can I forget Benoit? And then they became what, the Radicals, and they had a good
Yep. The
run. You know what I'm saying?
Radicals.
They came
They
in the
did.
Radicals. Yeah, I mean they made noise. It was actually kind of shocking. It was almost like, oh shit, we got WCW over here and WWF.
That
Well,
was definitely one that was unexpected.
yeah, and it almost
Yeah.
seemed, it's like, oh, okay, because this doesn't happen that often and shit. It was one time, one of the first times you actually saw the other people, on the other team show and shit, especially during the Monday Night Wars. So, and he just proved that he was the star everybody thought he was. Now, unfortunately, he had
Mhm.
some substance issues and stuff, and he had to get fired. But I think that was a blessing in disguise, because if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have came back and became the champ that he eventually became and shit. Tag
Latino
team
Heat.
champ, world champ. Like Latino Heat. Plus him in China with the whole
Latino Heat. Mamacita
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Mamacita and shit. I mean, like he could play, especially with the lie, cheat, and steal. I mean,
Yep.
that's classic. I mean, that's
And
beautiful.
it was bad
So well
guy
done.
shit that was good guy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even though, his
It was so
moniker
well
was lie,
done.
cheat, steal, and nobody cared if he stole. You know what I'm saying? It was Eddie Guerrero. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? It was just
Hmm.
accepted from him, and that's what I like to. And I
Hmm.
tell you what, too, I think the Los Guerreros tag team was very underrated. I thought they were him and Chavo as a tag team. I
yeah.
thought were really good
Mm.
together. You
Oh
They
know,
were.
yeah. Well, they've
I
been working together
have
for a long
other
time,
feeling
so.
though, but yeah,
But
and
see, Eddie could
but
do it all. You know what I'm
that's the
saying? I
thing.
mean,
They
that's what.
Yeah,
Go
he
ahead.
could. No, I was saying he could. Eddie could do it all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
Like he
really
was a
could.
tag champ. He was a singles champ. I mean, he could have a valet. He didn't need a valet and shit. He was good on the mic and shit. If you needed him to, play a part, he could do it, and he was believable and shit. Like he was charismatic.
He can be
Like he
what
was,
you needed him to be.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, whether it was, a silly character or if it was a serious character, and then him in like Ray's match. I'm trying to think what
Hmm.
pay-per-view it was and shit. And that was a classic they had and shit. I mean, people talk about that being one of the best matches ever and shit.
So I have a serious question for you.
Yeah.
Is what's his face? Um, why can I not think of his name? I really
Who
went
is it?
blank about the guy's name. He Intercontinental
Chavo?
Champion right now. No,
Oh,
right
right
now.
now?
Yeah.
Dominique?
Oh yeah,
Dominic
Dominic
Mysterio?
is
Yeah.
Dominic Eddie's son?
Oh, shut up. Are you serious? Come
Yes.
on, bro.
Yes. Do you not see what is happening in the wrestling universe? Of course that's his
Oh my
son.
God.
Of course that's his son.
Well,
Did
yeah,
you not see the
sure.
beautiful mullet that he has?
The
I
The
know.
mustache,
beautiful
the stash.
mustache?
Uh,
I mean, the frog
Of course.
splash. You know what I'm
The
saying?
frog splash,
okay.
the whole I got your girl, I got your girl, I got your girl. Yeah, of
Frog
course
splash
that's his son.
mustache.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, here, let me ask you this question. Do you know why he uses the frog splash as his finishing move?
Are we talking about Dominic or are we talking about Eddie?
Uh, Eddie.
I've never known that. I just always thought it was his move.
It's actually a tribute to one of his partners in AAA wrestling shit. I think his name was Art Barr. He like they were like this really popular tag team
I've
in
heard of
Mexico.
Art Bar.
They were like a heel group, and he ended up dying or whatever. And Eddie uses it because that was his finishing move, and as
Wow.
tribute to his friend or whatever.
Okay, I
That's
never knew
cool.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And now
Say
everybody uses the frog splash in honor of Eddie.
right.
And I think if I'm not too if, I mean, like it's not wrong and stuff, but they actually got the name from Too Cold Scorpio because they were talking about he looked like he was a frog when he did it, and so they used it. They started calling it a frog splash.
I tell
That's
you,
so funny.
I tell you who
Why
has
do
a
you remember him?
modified. Oh, Too Cold Scorpio. Heck yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
him and Marcus Bagwell. They were tag team champions for a minute in WCW, and then he became Flash Funk.
I'm gonna keep him as too cold. That's all I
Right,
need.
I'd rather do that and everything. But no, I was going to say another version of the frog splash that I always thought was a nice little variant. And no, it's not going to be the one you think. I know y'all are thinking I was going to say RVD was D'Lo
Oh
Brown's
yeah, yeah,
low
yeah.
down. How he kind of like
Dylan Brown, yeah,
put his legs out to the side and he like put his hands
Mhm.
down and then came out. I always enjoy, I thought his was pretty cool.
yeah,
I always liked D'Lo Brown though. I thought D'Lo Brown should have been, at least a
yeah. He's one of
multi-time
them ones.
something.
Yeah, yeah. Like he only just became a mid Carter and shit. But I think, like, did he ever become like an intercontinental champ or anything
Oh
like
yeah, he
that,
was
or
in,
did it?
yeah, he was IC champ. He was
Okay.
IC tag team
Like I know he
European
was tag,
and
but he never like a world. He was never a world champ or anything like
Never a
that.
no,
big
no, no, no,
champ.
not in WWE at least. I don't know about
Oh, like he was
TNA.
someplace else.
He went to TNA.
Hmm.
He's working with somebody right now. I want to say maybe AEW.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just like
Hmm.
his own
I have
music.
no
You're looking
idea.
at the real deal now. I love that
I always did
song.
like him. Like he cracked me
Come
out,
out
especially like his
flopping that
intro. Like when he
head.
come in there, be over there like
Sitting there. Man, I hurt my
shaking that
neck.
head, like.
I hurt my neck right now just trying to do it neck snap crap like it. And I always liked his. I ain't trying to get off of Eddie Guerrero, but I always liked his leg drop too, where he'd walk up, do that thing to the side, and then sit there and drop.
Yeah.
I always like D'Lo. But anyways, getting back to Eddie, but that just goes to show you how much Eddie Guerrero has influenced other people. I don't know that that's why
So
D'Lo
many other
used that move,
people.
but right. I mean, Art Bar influenced Eddie, and Eddie influenced. Look at this generation that uses it. It's
Well, think
Hmm.
just
how
it's
many people
amazing.
talk about him like his best friend or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got
Mhm.
Benoit, you got Dean Malenko, you got Perry Saturn, you got well, I think Chris Jericho. I mean, there was a lot of people that they never really spoke bad. Like the only person I know who really he got into it was what, Kurt Angle. You know, like when they had that fight backstage or whatever. Besides that,
See, and if
Yeah.
I've never, you know, it may have been just like a one-off type thing, and but I don't. I've never heard Kurt say a bad word about him now. Like that it
yeah.
was a held on to grudge for a long time.
No, no, it was just like, they had it out and then after that it was done and over with. So
Hmm.
Right, squashed. It's over with. So matches you've seen, Vipers, which match would you say is your favorite Eddie Guerrero match?
Probably the one between him and Ray over
Him and Ray.
custody over Dom. That's
Yeah,
probably the most one that I remember the most, actually. But it was just for them to be able to go as far as they did with that was just crazy to me. And to bring a child through that is even crazier
right.
to me.
Uncle Slam.
um honestly, I would probably have two. I would probably say him and Rey Mysterio Jr. I mean, you can pick pretty much like any of their matches and shit, or you can pick, when
Or,
he won the belt and shit,
Against
in No Way
Brock.
Out, yeah, against Brock, which I
yeah,
never thought he would ever do. So I
true.
could go, like any
No,
of
that was at
those or whatever.
WrestleMania.
Was it WrestleMania?
Yeah, because him and Benoit both won their world titles on the same night at
Yeah, at the
Okay,
WrestleMania.
same
okay,
night, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry, my bad. But like any of those two matches, like I said, I mean, like, are probably like some of my favorite ones or whatever. Um,
Mm.
but also, I mean, like any match Eddie was in, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, like when he roll in the, you know, the low rider and shit, you know,
Yep.
Raw or SmackDown and shit, and then taking over SmackDown and becoming like the number one guy over there and shit, you know, saying, not like, you know, like we're not the B team, you know what I'm saying? Like we are the A team, you know, we're going to show that we are better than, you know, Raw over here and said, you know,
Right.
look at us, you
I
know.
th- I think Eddie garnered that respect that like there's a few people who garner that respect, and he was one of them. That
Right.
even if how do I say it? Even if it's not a main event match, Eddie Guerrero's in it, so you got to kind of pay attention to it because something's going,
Right.
it's going to be a good match. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? At the very least, you're talking 3 stars just because Eddie
Yeah.
Guerrero's in it. You know,
Right.
I just
I agree.
I hate that things went the way that they did. It's too many great wrestlers have gone because of substance abuse, and things like that. And
Hmm.
he
Do
was
you
he
think
was
that it was cause of the drug use, or like do you think it
Yeah.
was because, you know, he really did just have a heart, you know, heart attack, or do you think that drugs did play a part in his actual death?
well, the toxicology reports have no drugs, no alcohol, not even over the counter drugs in his system.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but it does show.
they said
But
though
people
that
do
that's
say you can get
suspicious.
damage after it, after a long term drug use.
Right, right. And they
Yeah.
So,
say that
like, I assume the same.
he did have like a heart condition because
Mhm.
of drug use, alcohol use, and steroid use.
Oh damn.
But
Mhm.
even with that, they said it's suspicious because even with the, I guess, the level of heart disease or whatever it is he did have a little bit of an enlarged heart.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But even with
Okay.
all that, for 38 years old is very unusual to one. Why didn't the WWE's wellness thing catch the enlarged heart? You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of
That's
questions.
just a joke though, man. I mean, they've
Well,
said
and that's
before,
what
you
they
know, when it
said.
came to the drug testing and all that shit, that the
Right.
wellness
At
program
that
was
time,
just
it
was
brought
just
that
to
into
make it,
question.
yeah, was just to make it look like they gave a shit, or
Right.
that, you know, that way people wouldn't bitch after the whole steroids and all the
And
other
it
shit.
was it was a
But the,
lot of that and the Benoit case that made them go back and now serious test.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Because they just couldn't deal with that because there's some suspicious circumstances surrounding Eddie's death. They're not like as suspicious as like some of the circumstances surrounding Benoit's death,
see, I haven't
but
heard anything suspicious about the
they
whole
do
Eddie.
raise questions.
I have
Like
a couple questions.
there's one and like I said, I'm not trying to feed into the conspiracy theory. This is just stuff that came up in the research, so I'm just delivering it too. This has never been confirmed nor denied by the
Mhm.
WWE or the uh, police, but the question has been asked. They've just refused to answer it because there are suspicious key what do you call it? Where the key lock. There's
Yeah.
uh, there's suspicious activity that somebody was in and out of the room.
Is it a key card?
Yes, there's
Can't they
key
track that
card.
shit?
There's key card records. Supposedly, there's key card records, but the WWE and the police have neither confirmed nor denied that to this day. They said
Mhm.
another thing that was really suspicious was that because of the way he was found, the state he was found, just brushing his teeth, it was a sudden death, which could have happened with heart disease, but it was quickly just ruled natural causes and no real deep investigation done.
That's
With and they said
irritating.
with past history, of being, a drug user and stuff, they should have done a little bit more of a deeper investigation.
Absolutely.
First person to find him and supposedly perform CPR was Chavo.
I thought they called
I have
Chavo and shit.
questions
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
Chavo.
yeah. Hold
I
on.
have a lot of questions around
So
Chavo.
this is what my research came up, and
Because in the report I saw, it was like the hotel staff called Chavo, said there's something wrong with your uncle. So he went to Eddie's room. Eddie was in, bathroom, I guess, I don't know,
In the
bending over
floor,
or like having some heart problems and shit. And he basically pretty much passed away in Chavo's arms type
in
deal and
Chavo's
shit.
arms.
so here's the timeline of events leading to his death. On November 12th, 2005, the final day alive,
What's your
Eddie was.
source here first?
This is
Just
Chat
Yeah,
go.
where's your
GPT.
source coming?
Chat
Yeah.
Oh,
GPT.
okay.
Uh, I said Eddie. It says Eddie was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for a WWE TV taping. He had dinner with fellow wrestlers the night before.
Right.
Seemed happy, sober, and in good spirits. Scheduled to face Batista and Randy Orton in a triple threat match the next day for a storyline WWE title shot.
Mhm.
Eddie failed to answer the wake up calls or knock at his door. Chavo Guerrero, his nephew and fellow wrestler, went to check on him with hotel security. They entered the room and found Eddie unconscious on the bathroom floor. Chavo attempted CPR until paramedics arrived, but Eddie was pronounced dead at the scene. He was supposedly found dead while he was brushing his teeth. The medical findings say the official cause of death is acute heart failure due to yeah, cardiovascular disease. Yeah, one of them big arteroscopic
Is
words.
that the official name for it?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but that's that's the redneck version of it. Let's
That's
see.
the legend version of it.
That's right. Basically, it means his heart was severely enlarged, no signs of trauma or
Mhm.
foul play. The toxicology report says no illegal drugs, alcohol, or steroids in his system, clean of substances despite a well documented history of addiction and prior steroid use in the 1990s and early 2000s. Past health and substance abuse history, it just goes into the alcoholism, the pain addiction, the release in 2001. 2002, he returned sober. Uh, let's see. Past drug use, la da da, contributed to long term damage, particularly to his heart and cardiovascular
Mhm.
system. The WWE's response was a 2 night tribute on Raw and SmackDown. Wrestlers shared emotional stories, tributes, and tears on screen. Vince McMahon praised Eddie's character and legacy. WWE introduced the wellness policy in 2006, a direct response to multiple early wrestlers' deaths, including Eddie's. So the suspicions and the questions, and these are the best that it can come up with. But, and like I said, it's not horrible, but it does make you wonder why, with, you know, everything. I don't know why a better investigation wasn't done.
Well, I think
Says
Mhm.
part of it has to do with the lifestyle also. I mean, you got to understand, you're on the
probably.
road 24/7. You're probably not, I
It's
mean,
hard to
they do
investigate
work
something like
out,
that.
but like you're also not probably taking care. There's a lot of partying going on, which I know he was a recovering addict or whatever, so he probably didn't party that much. But
So
the years and years of that lifestyle, it might have caught up with him or whatever.
so it
It's
says
definitely a possibility. Something to think
right,
about.
right. So it says his age and health was one thing that it says Eddie was just 38 and reportedly in great physical shape. Now again, if your heart's jacked up, it doesn't really matter if you got muscles.
True.
Raises
Very,
is
very true.
right. I mean, and that could have like I said, I don't want to just cast too many shadows, but I have
We never
questions.
know.
And it says it raises questions about how severe. Hold on, sorry, let me start it again. Raises questions about how such severe heart disease went undetected.
Right. I can
I don't think
understand
they were
that.
looking for it, and
Well, but even his private doctors and stuff.
But okay, back then, like, wasn't the policy like if you didn't work, you didn't get paid? Like, was there still guaranteed? I mean, guaranteed contracts going on back
By
then?
that time, yeah,
He
they
may
But
not
he
have
didn't. I
told
mean,
us
they
like,
that.
did
weren't
he
really
have a
the.
guaranteed contract? Is the
I
question.
don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the specifics of the monies involved or anything like
You
that.
know,
But
because
I
I know a
know
lot
that
of guys. Go ahead.
that was around the time they started doing guarantees. Now the guarantees weren't great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
but that
was
was WCW. Like WWF, I
Mm.
don't think they started doing. I mean, like making that regular until a while.
they
Later down
had
the
to
line.
right around the Austin Rock era is when they started offering like the top tier guys guarantees.
Mm.
Oh,
Like
yeah, just the
yeah,
top tier guys,
right. It
top
wasn't
tier
like the
guys.
mid guys and everything. So I don't know if
Mhm.
Eddie had fallen into that by this time of being a guarantee guy or what. But
Mm.
that could play into it too. Um, let's see the suddenness. Let's say they found with a toothbrush in his mouth, suggesting he collapsed instantly. Sudden cardiac arrest is possible, but rare in people who were thought to be healthy. Uh, there was because as far as health, I haven't seen anything as far as like blood pressure issues or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And you would
Not that
think that
I had heard.
an enlarged heart would cause blood pressure issues as well.
Right.
No real investigation, no signs of foul play, but no criminal investigation at all.
Yeah.
Some critics argue the death should have been more thoroughly examined due to its timing, setting, and profile.
Mm.
Um,
What does that
ho-
mean though? Like, I mean, like, I don't understand. I mean, what do you mean time setting a profile? I mean, like, what did somebody have to gain
It
by
was in a
ending the?
hotel room,
well,
the
and
setting during the
there's
time.
where I have theories.
Oh, I
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
lot
it's in
of theories.
hotel rooms and shit. I mean, that's not like anything, new. I mean, you're a wrestler. You stay in hotel rooms 24/7.
Let's
But it
see.
is odd for somebody to die inside of a hotel in general
I don't see it as being that
without it
suspicious. I
being
think,
like self inflicted.
Let's see the
what's up?
hotel key card rumors. Speculation of possible key card access activity after his death. Never officially addressed by the WWE or police. WWE's immediate statement. WWE made public announcement almost immediately after the death. Some found it suspicious that full details were released before an autopsy toxicology were completed. Lack of warning signs. WWE had no apparent knowledge of his heart condition. Either there was no proper health monitoring or warning signs were missed or ignored.
I think shit was just missed. Like, I don't. Like I said, I I think if anybody knew, Eddie knew, and I think like most guys,
He
he's
wasn't going
he's
to
like,
tell anybody.
yeah, yeah, he was just gonna tough it out. Oh, it's no big deal. I can handle
I
it,
can
and
I can power through it.
yeah, and one of those
Yeah.
things that might have just caught up with him, unfortunately.
Well, like I said on the other episode, the Chris Benoit episode, I just with Chavo and all his wishy washiness going back and forth, different. He's changed his story several times. I just think there was something very suspicious about Chavo. I think he was.
That's what I was going to say.
I find Chavo somebody they should investigate.
What
Well,
does he have to
Chavo
gain
was,
though?
well, everything, because without both Eddie and Chris Benoit, like, look at this. Why would the hotel staff call Chavo and say your uncle, not Eddie Guerrero, your uncle is not responding to his wake up call? How do they know that's your uncle?
They're
How do they
famous.
know?
Everybody, I
Not
mean, it
everybody
wouldn't be
knows
hard.
wrestling, though. Not everybody knows
Yeah,
wrestling. I didn't know they were even related for the longest time whenever I first
yeah.
started watching it.
But they travel
Had
together,
no
what I'm
idea.
saying? They probably was like, hey, this my nephew, so and so, we're sharing a
Okay,
room, woo woo.
maybe. I mean, that's a possibility. But here's where I go a step further. Why would they do that? And then why is it also that Chavo was also one of the last people that Chris Benoit talked to the night before
Yep.
everything, or the night Saturday night before he died, before Chris died? It was after um, the child had died and the wife had died, but before Benoit died.
Didn't they travel
Chavo was one of the
together?
last. No, they were into.
I
Chavo was in his car going somewhere, and he called Chris, or Chris called him,
I
and
thought
something.
that they
But
used to just travel together with people and stuff. It was like him and so and a couple other people used to like ride together to different shows or something like that.
I mean,
I
they
yeah,
may
thought
have
it's
and
just
everything.
weird that
I just
Chavo
find
was
it.
literally the last sort of person involved in both deaths. Not
I,
necessarily, involved in the death, but it's just weird.
right. And that's what I find suspicious too. And like this is unsubstantiated, so I don't want to give it too much credence right now because I am getting ready to do some digging about this. But I have seen a few things online too about Kevin Sullivan's cousin was the neighbor of Chris Benoit that let the dogs
The
and was
lady
in the house. The
that we
lady,
talked about,
Holly, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how substantiated that is. I'm getting ready to look into it and everything, but even with that, that even adds more, suspicion
craziness
to it.
on top of that.
Right? It's
what she
just
got to do with Eddie though.
well, I'm
Uh,
not has anything to do with Eddie, but I think, and
oh,
that's
okay.
where I think that I if you want to go the Sullivan route and say that Sullivan had anything to do with it, you could always, go that. Me personally, I nobody had anything to do with both deaths, and he had more to gain from it than anybody. It was Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, but he didn't really
because
blow up. Like he didn't get no money or anything, did he?
he
Did
did
he profit
afterwards.
off of it?
He did
He did
afterwards.
that
But yeah,
because he wasn't like second, third in line
That's
anymore.
it.
You
He,
have
I
yeah,
the
think,
but he
two
wasn't
that
a
were
willing
ahead of
champ.
you out of the way.
I think
I
he
mean,
thought, okay, this was supposed to be me and Eddie, not Eddie and Chris. And I think jealousy snuck in. This is all my theory. I'm not saying that this is true. I can
Yeah,
prove it or anything. I'm just saying
I
this
just
is
think it's
what I
weird.
think.
That's all I'm
That's it.
saying.
I think it's very suspicious that you have one person around two deaths and
Two
nobody has looked
suspicious
in.
deaths at that.
Yes, and
No, they're
nobody
not
has
even like
looked into this
natural deaths.
person.
They were
Right,
suspicious.
right. You know what
I
I'm
don't know.
saying?
Like I could see Benoit's death being like a little suspicious, just because some of the things I'd learned about there being alcohol and there was no alcohol in the system. They didn't find any cell phones and shit like that. But Eddie's, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't get the whole like murder mystery vibe and shit from it
But
or
okay, but
whatever.
here's my thing. So see, Eddie died first, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So Eddie died, but then all of a sudden, Chris Benoit was telling people somebody's following me. That's proven substantiated. He came out to people and said, "There is people following me." He would take different routes home. So
He
what
kept
was
saying
going on?
that.
Yeah. So what was going on?
Yeah, but he also could have been kind of crazy because remember, like when they did his autopsy, his brain was the size of
Yeah,
This is true, and I'm not
you know,
discounting that. But was Chavo in that last phone call? Was that a last phone call to substantiate they're at home now?
uh,
They didn't take a different route. They're home. They're sitting there. If you're going to
he
do it
called
now.
them and stuff. Like I said, Chavo didn't call him.
No,
Like they
no, but
called.
that's what I'm saying. It just by that phone call happening, it lets could it have let somebody know they're home? They're not out and about on a different route. They're not. You know what I'm saying? Because like I
hmm
said, Chris was overly paranoid and just they said it was just out of the blue after Eddie died.
And
and
then
that
that was
stuff
just the
don't just happen
CTE.
out of the blue. You have symptoms leading up to stuff like that.
Right.
You don't just start seeing things.
Right. I seriously think there's more connection to these two deaths. I think there's more investigation that should be needs to be done. Like I said, I'm not trying to play conspiracy theory or anything like that. I'm just saying if it smells or walks, whatever, walks like a duck, talks like a
Walks
duck, it's a
funny.
duck, and if it smells funny, then it's probably trash.
Uh,
I
I don't know.
just
Like I said, I just don't get the same vibe. But I mean, you could be right. I mean, stranger things have happened and stuff. But
right.
I've never heard of Eddie hanging around any weird people. I think he worked work was pretty much his life or whatever.
It
Hmm.
was, but think about wrestling in Mexico. Wrestling in Mexico is not like wrestling in America.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That
but that was his
shit's like
younger years.
it
I mean,
was.
you got to think. I mean, like when he started out, he was in Mexico, and then he went all over the world and was in the U.S. He came to the top. Like he wasn't going back there and shit.
No,
Like
no, no, no. I'm
unless
just
it.
saying, did you piss anybody off along the way? I
Uh,
mean, you never know, man. Look at the. I mean, there's proof that Vince McMahon had paid people off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's
well, that's
here.
obvious. He paid women off. Shit.
Well,
Now,
yeah.
man,
Well,
who's
no,
gonna
no. I'm
pay some
saying
people
even.
off?
I'm saying even back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That I can't remember what story it was. There was somebody he walked into a room or something. Somebody got in trouble. He walked into the room, walked out, and was like, "Come on, let's go, get in the damn car." And so it was on a dark side of
Yeah.
the ring. I just
Who,
can't
Eddie
remember who
did
it
that
was.
or Vince
No,
did that?
Vince
Was it?
did
It
that
was
back in the day.
Vince,
It was back in the
but I
early
can't remember who
days
it
of
was that
him
he
owning
did
it.
that to.
It was on a dark side of the ring, yes. But it happened. I can't remember who it was. It may have even been David Schultz or something, and something else he had done besides smacking somebody. I can't remember right offhand. I don't want to swear to it or nothing, but that's what I'm saying. There's wrestling back then was a mob mentality, and that even was until kayfabe and the fourth wall kind of got broke down. That's the way it was. You don't ask
Hmm.
questions unless unless you're a part of the business. And
Right.
if you ain't a part of the business, you don't need to know. It was protected like that. So, like I said, it had kind of a mob
Protected at
mentality.
all cost.
Right,
Yeah, but his family was part of the business. Like remember his dad. I mean, he's a second generation. His dad was in
right,
it. His dad was a promoter. His brothers were in it.
right. And that's what I'm
You
saying.
know.
You're telling me that, like, Mexico,
In all the years, you didn't
Mexican
make anybody
wrestling
mad.
ain't got no tie or never has had any ties to the mob or anything like you know
What do
what
you
I'm
mean
saying?
cartel? It wouldn't be mob. It'd be
Right.
cartel
Same,
and
you
stuff.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same difference.
I'm not saying that the possibility is not there. I need a little more evidence than that. You
And
know
I'm
what I'm
not
saying?
saying that the
I
cartels
mean,
are involved in it. I'm just saying some
I mean,
investigation needs to be done.
like I
That's
said,
my
I
thing.
need a little more. Like I said, because I feel like there's a little far reach in there for me just to
I
go conspiracy right there.
I believe it. I believe it to my soul.
Now, both of y'all are, I'm like right in the middle. I don't necessarily believe something is up with his death. I just think there's too many holes in the story and in the police report and in the autopsy report that I'm not comfortable with the results. I'm not comfortable with the fact that, that's what they say has happened and that's what really happened. So I would just rather them do a little bit more investigating myself.
Well,
Right.
like
I
an
mean,
autopsy, I mean, like, didn't they do an autopsy? I mean, that's kind of
They did,
standard.
but it wasn't full like it should have
they
been.
released the story and the cause of death to the WWE way before the autopsy ever had a chance to be done.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? Why are you
Huh?
just jumping
Like,
to
say that again.
conclusions?
Like, how do they give the autopsy before they done the autopsy?
No,
No, they gave a
WWE
story.
gave a release and
Oh,
was and said what the cause of death was before an autopsy was ever done.
Yeah.
So that's like
mm.
everybody's like, how do you know that? You
Now,
know,
like, that's suspicious, I would say, and shit.
right? And
Now,
that's what I'm
but
saying.
I still need just a little bit more
There's too many
refined evidence.
holes in it for me.
That's it.
I
I
don't think
just
it's that suspicious. I just think that there's just still too many holes for me to be comfortable with it being done.
You don't have to prove there was a conspiracy. I just want you to plug up the holes with something that
Right,
makes sense.
exactly. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm
Hmm.
asking. I'm not
Absolutely, I
trying to
agree with
say
that.
conspiracy this, conspiracy that, but it's just there's too many holes and the ship's kind of sinking a little bit or laying low in the water. I just need a
Hmm.
little bit more than what you're giving me. And that's
Right.
Like I
all
said,
it is.
now, like if you said Vicky did it to kill him or some shit so she can make a whole bunch of money with T-shirt and get a boost, I'd buy that. But I don't
I
know.
have
Like
two words
I,
for you.
I just don't
Him
see
and
top
Vicky
five.
were so in love. I would never believe that
Excuse
Vicky did
baby.
anything to him.
You know she's
Hey,
back,
baby.
don't you?
Oh,
I
is she
did
back?
hear that. Hey, baby.
I always did
So
like her and shit.
I
see,
heard something about that.
I didn't like her, and I don't like her, but I don't like her because she does so good. You know what I'm saying? It's one of
Yeah,
I
those.
know, right? She's so good at it.
I cannot
that voice
stand her
is so
voice.
freaking
It just
annoying.
works my
Oh my
nerves. It's
god,
like,
yeah.
please shut up. 5 seconds is all I need you to do. Just shut up for 5 seconds. But no, I don't know, man. When it comes to Eddie, I just so all right. Let's round it out with this because we've got the poll up on the group and everything. So everybody, please feel free to go vote on the poll too. That's up on the Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc Facebook group. It's a simple question about Shawn Michaels and everything. There's three options to choose from, but so I'll ask your
What are the
guys.
three options?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
I don't
just
think he's
curious,
seen the
sir.
post yet.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't seen a poll yet, sir. I'd like to vote.
oh, the poll's right on the page, and I tagged everyone
Uh,
in it. But
He
here,
is not
okay.
going to tell
I'll
you what
read
it says.
exactly.
Oh,
Oh
maybe
no,
he
I'll read
will.
exactly what it says right here.
Okay.
Let me
Oh,
get
thank
to
you,
it
sir.
real quick.
Okay.
So this is the poll I put up because I made sure to read the question the correct or to we were talking about wrestler, technical wrestler, in ring, blah blah blah. So I said, is Shawn Michaels a top five in ring performer of all time? Not promos, not titles, not character, factoring only in ring work. Is he top five?
And
Now
where are three choices?
the options
Yes,
are
he is.
yes,
10.
top five, no, not top five, and the third answer is no, but better than Bret Hart.
That's all. I swear to
When
God,
I
did
seen that, I
you
was like,
hear
I'm
that?
dead.
Oh,
I
good
am
God.
dead,
I swear
yo.
to God, I can't stand you if you did it. I
It
wish I could
does.
go edit the page and I'd be like, Sting is better than Shawn Michaels.
But just to let you know, right now there are four votes in, and three of the votes
They're all
say
you
yes. No, no, no.
with burner accounts.
I made it to where nobody could vote more than once, and nobody could add any options.
We know you have
Uh,
burner accounts. You don't have to lie to us.
so
Like I
so
said, you voted
all says
four out of the three times.
I'm trying to see what the votes here are. William Navarre, my former brother-in-law, says yes, he is top five. John Stennett says he's top five, and Kerry Murray says no, he's not top five. Nobody's voted for no yet, so I just wanted to give people
Don't worry.
options.
I'm pretty sure there's a no coming real soon. I can
No, but I
promise you
love
that.
Shawn Michaels. Y'all, don't get me wrong. I love Shawn Michaels, but I still don't think that he's top five.
I
Sorry.
don't either. I agree with you. I don't
So
either.
so you said that there's a no coming too, right?
I believe that there's another no coming.
The
Of course
no
Uh,
that
there
says
is.
nobody's
Of
better than
course
Bret
there is.
Hart.
I wish I could, modify it to be like anybody is better than Shawn Michaels, but I can't do that.
Oh,
Or I'll be like, you
So you can
mean
always
the equivalent of Sting?
you're an admin. You can go make your own poll and everything, and
I know I
oh,
should be like,
absolutely.
is Shawn Michaels just the WCW version of Sting? I think that
Oh,
would
that
be
would get a
a
resounding no.
He said
Nobody
that'd
or
be a
but
resounding no.
or
Shawn
TikTok. No,
Michaels
like we
is
need to take
far
that to
superior.
TikTok. Hey, legend, that's what you need to
Shawn,
do as far as the TikTok. Like you
take
need to
that
put
to a
one out with
TikTok
that.
poll.
Yes, be
Yeah,
like, what
because
do y'all think?
I'll do it on TikTok, and I'll make sure to put that
Mhm.
third option too, so they can
You need to give them
even if
another
they
real
don't like
option.
him, top five.
Like,
Mhm.
what about the fourth option? Sting's better than he is, or Sting's the equivalent.
Stinks the
Well, but
equivalent.
I
I
mean,
swear.
I don't want to lie to people is the thing.
Well, then
I
why are you
love
making the
Sting,
poll
but
that
I
he's
don't want
top
to lie to
five?
people.
I don't think he's the
He
equivalent
is
either.
because there's other people.
Lord,
Yeah,
It's all
I'm
right. Like I
dead.
said, I think the
there's
legend's been
another
sipping
thing I
on some of
would
that
like to bring
moonshine or
up.
something.
Right, get another
Yeah,
good shot of it. There is another thing that I would like to bring up, unless the Viper's wants to. 'Cause news to
Go
me,
right
and
ahead.
I just found this out. Um, what's his name? Adam Cole.
Adam Cole.
He Yeah, Adam Cole has unexpectedly had to retire. Adam
Yeah.
Cole used to be on NXT, and now he's
Mhm.
in AEW, but he's got health issues. But I hope it's not like infringement or anything. But I'd like to play his retirement speech real quick.
The
Go
words,
for it.
but I wanted to come out here and talk to you all. Very sorry that I let everybody down and I can't wrestle tonight. I have some health issues going on at the moment that not only will not allow me to defend this championship tonight, but I am going to be gone for a while. And I don't even want to think about talking about retiring because I am not in the right headspace, but I wanted to have this opportunity and talk to you all if this is indeed goodbye because you are the best damn wrestling fans in the world.
To get in trouble for
Just
any kind of
so
copyright
sad.
things or anything like
Yeah,
that,
I
mm,
would
but
stop it there
I
too.
just wanted to play a little bit. Uh, I never really was a fan, but I wasn't not a fan either. I never really watched much of him or anything. But for whatever health issues he's facing, I hope he. This is kind of breaking news to us. I know this episode may get out a little bit later. After some more news about this is broke. But we wanted to address it on the show and just wish him a quick recovery and
prayers and
Mhm.
thoughts for sure.
is yes all that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're facing, Adam,
So
Mr.
sad.
Cole, but whatever it is you're facing, just know that rest right there with you. We want to see you
If
back
there's,
in the ring one day.
oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Even if you can't wrestle, at least him back on television to be able to like, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
somehow,
something.
some way, I'd like to see you still pursue being involved in the wrestling business if you can.
Right.
It's just well wishes from to anybody and
All of us.
everybody
Yeah.
that's trying to recover. And it was in the wrestling world. I mean, not in the wrestling world too, but a wrestling podcast where, but anybody that's trying to recover or anything. Well wishes from
Absolutely.
Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc. We won't see nobody suffering or nothing like that. At the end of the day, we're all humans, and you know, wishing
Right.
That
wishing bad on people just ain't cool.
Not
No matter
good.
what you believe, what you think, you know, it's just
shout out to
shitty.
Mhm.
JR, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know he's
Jr. Hulk
recovering.
Hogan,
Can't wait to see him
you
back.
know,
Yeah, Hogan too.
that's
Yeah.
it. All of them would just get better. Wouldn't be the same without you. You know,
Mhm.
so just do your thing and get better. But yeah, as far as Eddie Guerrero goes, guys,
Any final thoughts on Eddie or whatever legend or Vipers that y'all want to share?
well, I wanted to ask before we got off here, as far as just Eddie Guerrero, where would you rank Eddie Guerrero on your all-time list? If you had to do just a quick think about it and everything, within
Top
30
20.
seconds, top 20?
Uh, My
And that's
first
just
thought
because I
would
didn't see
be
as much as I needed
Right.
to in order for him to be higher up.
Right.
But 20 for me.
honestly, I was gonna first thought is any place above Shawn Michaels, but I digress. I'm just I'm just gonna joke. I'm gonna leave that alone. Um, honestly, like I said, Eddie, as far as the impact, and he's definitely won championships in a couple different places, tag team champion, intercontinental television, all that. Um, I can't put him top 10 because I could easily name 10 guys better than him, but definitely top 20 for sure. Maybe top 15. Um, but
Cutting it close.
definitely, yeah, but yeah, and like I said, I can see top 15 would be cutting it close, but for sure, top 20 as far as wrestlers, all time
Right.
wrestlers to me and stuff, and just my opinion or whatever, you know.
Being honest, sorry, were you done?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
want to cut you off or anything. I
Like,
didn't
what
know if you
about
were done.
you? Like, where do you rank them at?
See, I have a hard time doing a ranking system because
Mhm.
there's so many different factors. We joked around earlier about Shawn Michaels and all of them and everything. But honestly and truthfully, there's so many different
It's
ways
really
to
hard
rank
to.
what greatness is in wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hogan was great because he could go out there and entertain 50,000 people by just shaking his head and doing a leg drop and a couple of, it
Right.
was a simplistic match. And I'm not knocking him for it. Even Hogan will tell you,
But
I've
it
got
worked.
right. He said, I've got a match A, B, C, and D that I can do. So which one do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? But it worked. It was a formula
Yeah,
that worked, and you
Really?
unreal for
knew
strengths.
yes, Hogan will tell you that. I got match A, B, C, and D that I can do. So which one would you prefer to do whenever we go out here tonight and everything? And but that, like I
Free.
said, you
Oh,
knew if you
Lord.
were working with Hogan, you were making some bank that night.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
mean, if you're going to base it off that, then it's you're going to get the Hogans and the Stone Colds and the Rocks and people like that because they were the big, huge names. They were the blockbuster names and everything. But if
Hmm.
you're going for giants or luchadors. There's so many different ways to categorize what's great. So, I mean, I
Right.
honestly, when I'm looking at people, I try to put my bias out of the way and just base it
Right.
on in ring skills, the
Ability.
types of matches they could have. Could they work with anybody? And Eddie was just one of those guys that could work with anybody, big, little, small,
True.
and you know even though he was always usually outsized, somehow some way he made you believe that he was in that match and that he
Right.
could win that match, lie, cheat, and steal, viva la raza. But
Hmm.
I just, as far as ranking Eddie, I'm gonna go strictly on in-ring skills, no promo work or anything like that. And as far as just strictly skills, could work with anybody, I'd put him top 10, top 15 easily. And
Okay,
that's
but
no particular order because of the fact that even that's so subjective. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
okay, but like if you add everything together, cutting promos, cutting everything that part of wrestling, like like where do you rank them?
As a whole,
Yeah,
definitely top 15.
top 15. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
where
not
would you
bad.
rank them? Where would you rank them as far as say like one of the luchadors or whatever, or the light or cruiserweight, or one of them?
Cruiserweight, he's probably easily top 5. No doubt about
Okay.
it. No doubt about it.
Maybe. Yeah.
And honestly and truthfully, there's a few cruiserweights that people probably wouldn't suspect that I would put in there. But Eddie's definitely one of the kings of the mountain
Top
as far
five.
as
Yeah.
cruiserweights go. He
Right.
just
Yeah,
he helped innovate that division.
I agree
Ye-
with that, especially in WCW.
Yes, I mean he's the reason. Sean and Brett and guys like that
Hmm.
helped. make it believable that a littler guy could win.
Can beat a big guy. Like,
Yes, a Hogan,
yeah,
whatever, earthquake, Undertaker.
yeah.
Uh, but it was Eddie and all of them that just made it popular for guys like Rey Mysterio, and like that, to not
Chris
just be able to
Jericho.
beat
Yeah.
those guys,
Yeah.
but I can beat them and be champion too.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
believable. Make the
Yes,
fans believe because that's what you got to do.
yes,
You got
You
to make
don't.
the fans believe it.
that's it.
Yeah, like you don't have to be a big dude to be able to do what the big dudes do.
That's it.
If
And I
anything,
think
you can be better than the big dudes.
yes, and Eddie was definitely an innovator of that.
Right.
If nothing else, he innovated the
He was a
art
trailblazer.
of, yeah, use the small guys ain't just there for the opening matches.
Right.
So I mean, to me, that's what Eddie is. He was just one of the all time greats that he didn't care to give back to the business. He didn't care
Hmm.
to put somebody, like we were talking about earlier. He didn't care to put somebody over. It was just strictly let's do what's best for business and give them the best show we can give them. Whether and
Hmm.
honestly and truthfully, when he had his substance abuse problems and was wrestling, I couldn't tell you. So he was obviously professional
Yeah.
enough, like Scott Hall and some of the other ones. Now, eventually, Scott Hall's kind of started spilling over, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
Right.
yeah.
Eddie's did. I'm sure Eddie's did too. We just didn't notice it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And WWE
He's better at
probably
covering it up.
squashed it, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, that again just shows you, the greatness, that they
The
could even perform.
professionalism.
I think Eddie is going to be sorely missed for a long, long time. Eddie's impact on the sport's going to be around for a long,
Forever.
long time. And, you know, all I can say is I just encourage generations forward to go and, if you've got access to the libraries to watch it, go watch Eddie Guerrero matches, man.
It's
They're
definitely
they're
worth it.
and start off, with the luchador stuff and work your way all the way up to main eventing WrestleManias, because the
Hmm.
man could literally do it all. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Mhm.
No, he's just a great guy. It's just really sad. I will say this. This was probably this researching this episode made me cry way too much.
It was a sad moment,
It
you know.
was just to hear the way people talked about him and just the heartbreak and like Vicky Guerrero's voice, just the heartbreak. I just can't imagine. I'm gonna
But they
cry
had
right now
like
just
four
thinking about
kids.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, they had a
Yeah,
family. Four kids. I mean, that's not a small.
it's hard to
and
think
small.
about.
being someone who has seen stuff like this before, I, I'm glad that his kids and his family got to
Or
see
okay,
him clean
yes,
before he
before it
passed
was
away.
tragic.
And it wasn't he passed away because of that stuff, and that's how they had the last memory they had of their dad. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? I mean, that to me that's a blessing. He
right, absolutely.
I
I
just
agree with that.
I'm thankful for his family, for to his family for that. I guess is
Hmm.
how you say it. I'm thankful that they didn't have to go through that.
Right.
I mean, I'd love to see some Guerrero kids up in the WWE ring here pretty soon.
I think you will. Like I said, I can see like a
And he was
third
second
generation coming
generation.
sometime. Yeah, so like I can see a third generation Guerrero coming one day.
Absolutely.
it'd be nice. You know,
Love to
I
see a
mean,
female Guerrero.
Yep, definitely.
is that all he's got is girls?
Yeah.
Hey,
Is it for real?
hey,
Yeah.
there you go,
Oh
Josh.
wow,
And it's
I do.
four too,
I mean,
right?
I feel it. Yeah, it's four of
I
them.
think so. Yeah. My mom. I had three girl. I have three girls, and my mom had four. So I understand, man. I'm
Josh,
ready for some girl
y'all are part of the
Guerrero.
four horsemen now, the new four horsemen.
But see, that could work because the women's division is blowing up so much now that, like, can you
Absolutely.
imagine like
A
like
female.
women Guerreros as far as tag team or like singles or like
Oh,
intercontinental
that would be
Yeah.
so
champions
cool.
with women?
Oh
I
yeah.
can see them
If
dominating. Hell yeah.
I
Absolutely. That would be really
LWO,
cool to
you know
see.
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
LW. Well, they already got that LWO back, and they didn't do nothing. I hate
Yeah, I
that.
know.
Kind of faltered
Latin World
out.
Order.
It's
Yeah.
and see, I get why they brought that back. We're still on the subject of Eddie Guerrero, not trying to drag it on, but I get why they brought that back. But like some things, after a while, just let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let it. It
Mhm.
was. It's not going to be better. It's going to be nostalgic for 5 minutes, and then you're going to run it into the ground, and it's going to kind of taint the legacy of what it originally was, and it's going to taint what you intended to do for the nostalgia. That's just
Right.
my opinion. I don't know. But overall, I'd say Eddie Guerrero is definitely, one of the greats, definitely a legend.
Hmm.
You know, is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, yes.
I
He was
believe so.
put
Yeah.
in
I could,
I think of course like after his death or whatever.
okay, I couldn't
Obviously.
remember
Yeah.
if he had made it in or not and everything, but
Yeah. I could
definitely
probably tell you.
deserving of it.
Yeah, I could probably tell you a year if you give me like
That would be awesome.
second. Yeah,
Be
like
some
uh,
info to pass on to the peeps.
uh, let's see. Was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't think it was. No, I don't have a date right now or what year, but I would say probably year after he passed away.
Let's
I
see.
don't think they would wait 5 years. Normally, isn't it 5 years or something
I
like that? Like
don't
after you retire.
I don't know if
don't count
WWE
that
does that or
because
not.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Bray's been gone for over a year now,
Well,
and he still
I would
hasn't
say
even
for
made it into the Hall of Fame.
I would say
2006.
2006. There
2006
you
or
go.
something.
Eddie
That's the
Guerrero
year
was
after he died.
posthumously
You're
inducted
right.
into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006.
A
Okay.
year after he
So
died.
it's just, I mean, like I say, it's a tragic story that had a lot of peaks and valleys, but I'm glad I got to see a good majority of it and everything. And again, I'm glad I got to see him, live once before he passed on and
Uh,
everything. But I don't have anything else on Eddie. I just I like Eddie. I'm like I said, I'm just glad I got to experience it.
right.
Yeah. I'll just have the what if, you know what I'm saying? Like, like what if he's still around? Like what
Mm.
else, like what could have been?
Yep.
You know,
Could you
would he have been
imagine?
a world
Yeah.
champ? Like would he have been able to say Benoit and shit? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot
That
of
I was saying that before.
Uh-huh.
so, I mean, there's a lot
Would
of
Ben
what else, but
would Benoit have done what he done if Eddie hadn't died? You know what I'm
yeah,
Nope.
saying? I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
who knows?
So
It's just, that's the sad thing about it, because I think it would be cool to see like Eddie and Dominic on TV now.
I was
Doing some
literally gonna
kind
say
of
that, like a
like you know
father son
uh,
tag team.
because Ray's still
Like
oh,
around. You know what I'm saying? They could still be doing stuff like that.
that'd
oh,
be
it'd be
so
so
funny.
good. It'd be
Oh,
so
that'd be so
good.
funny.
Would. Well, guys, I think that's it. I don't have anything else, and if y'all don't have anything else, this is our Eddie Guerrero show. Listen to it, like it. We'll be coming to you next week with some more, crazy off the wall shit that we talk about. Who knows what it's going to be. But until then, let's ring the damn bell.